So on Sunday, I went to the Loughborough League Cup. It was 6 rounds, best of one, and I took Zoroark Golisopod. So my round one was against Quad Zoroark. Both of us started this game pretty well, to be honest. The prize trades went back and forth for quite a while, and it ended up being my win pod that I started out with got KO for the final prize. I couldn't really evolve it fast enough. I know that may sound a bit weird since I started with it, but yeah, I just didn't see what I wanted to see, to be honest. But I did get KO through the Zoroarks really well, so yeah, and in the end it was the win pod that lost me it. So my round two was against Silvally Metal Zoroark. This game went pretty well for me, to be honest. I managed to set up really quickly with numerous Zoroarks out on turn 2, thanks to the Evo Sodas. And because of that, I had a pretty large hand size throughout most of the game, since my opponent didn't see an N, like, at all. And speaking of my opponent, he didn't manage to set up at all. Like, his turn 1 play was Ultra Ball Lele into a Lily instead of a Bridget, which I found pretty questionable, but in the end that was the main reason why he lost. So my round 3 was against Zoroark Decidueye. Now this game went really bad for me. I started out with a Wimpod, and my turn 1 play was going to be Ultra Ball for a Tapu Lele to grab a Bridget, but as I was looking through my deck, my Bridgets were prized, so that's never happened to me before in testing this deck leading up to today. And yeah, that was pretty fun trying to play through. So I eventually just Ultra Balls for a Tapu Koko to try and do a Golisopod game of winning. And that just went terribly, and my opponent just spammed out the Decidueyes to just take KOs out through that way, and I lost. So my round 4 against, I guess you can say, anti-meta. I was unaware of what he was really playing until quite a few times in. It was a deck involving Glaceon EX and both versions of Ninetales, with spamming out Aqua Patches to power them up with DCEs. But as soon as I saw the Glaceon being placed down, I knew that if I got powered up at all, that'll be like me losing, since it prevents damage from itself with evolved Pokemon, which is what my entire deck is based around. So I just spammed out the Enhanced Hammers to get rid of the DCEs, and luckily he didn't manage to get Water Energies into his discard pile too often. And I made a mistake partway through that game. I accidentally traded twice, which me and my opponent caught on with. So we both called the judge, and I got a warning, and both cards that I drew got shuffled back into my deck. I ended up winning that game though because of Breakthrough Zoroark's ability to Standard, which is really good. So my round 5 was against Lycanroc Zoroark. This is a matchup that I was pretty comfortable going into, because it's essentially the same deck as me, but my Golisopod hits for weakness against his Lycanrocs. I opened up Koko, which was really good, and I spreaded quite a lot of damage throughout the first few turns, and I just kept playing Enhanced Hammers to get rid of DCs and strong energies that he attached on. And my opponent in their first turn made a mistake where he went Ultra Ball Lele, but then forgot to grab the Lele and just went straight to the Bridget to then get 3 Pokemon out. We caught onto this when he went for a trade, and he drew the Lele that he should have played down. So we both called Judge. They came over and they fixed the problem with fairly easily, and he ended up getting a warning for it, since both of us were aware that it was a genuine mistake. But yeah, I ended up winning that game in the end. And my round 6th and final round was against Volcanion. Now, this was the matchup where it decided whether me or my opponent would make top cut. and I've never been in a top cut for a League Cup before, so this was pretty tense for me. We both at the time were 3-2. The winner would be on 4-2, which would have came 8th or 7th, and whoever lost didn't. I knew I was a pretty bad disadvantaged in this game, since Golisopod is weak to fire, and his entire deck's fire. And I started out with a Wimpod as well, which was like the worst starter I could probably have in that matchup, which meant I would have had to set up a Golisopod and then hopefully pick it up with an Ace Roller later on in the game, which ended up not happening, and that was the final 2 prizes for my opponent after we traded quite a few times for prizes. And that left me on an overall record of 3-3, placing me 18th. So in comparison to Canuck League Cup, where I played Greninja, I felt this one went quite a lot better because I had a way better record and I finished higher than I thought I would do. But obviously I go to each League Cup hoping to at least top cut, but recently that hasn't been the case. So for me to almost make it this time has definitely raised my confidence for the next one, which I may go to, which is in Leeds. So be looking out for a tournament report for that. And yeah, so that's the League Cup for Loughborough, and I want to say a huge thanks to Richard, because if it weren't for him I wouldn't be playing Golisopod Zoroark at all. And I'll end it there. So don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.